Deputy Speakers of the House. Once again, I am very grateful for this great honor.
So that's Alban Kingsford Sumana Bagbin, Parliament, right? The first speaker to serve under two different political administrations, right? Serving while his party is in opposition.
And when his party
is now in power, you know. So yeah, that is a man of many firsts. He's a history man. Yeah. He's a man making a lot of it. Everything Parliament is
everything revolves around him. And you know, prior to this day, I mean, he even before being recommended.
Yeah.
He made a few statements, a few pronouncements that, oh, those people whose seats are in contention, I will not swerve in. It's as though he knew he was going to be made speaker again. So it's not surprising that. And I mean, even before this day, some members of the NPP still recommended that Alban be made speaker of the 9th Parliament, as well as the current leadership of the various benches, the front benches. That's the minority side and the majority side.
I mean, they'll be maintained essentially. Yeah. You know, but there is one change.
So the front
I think there's one change in the NPP
Patricia
side, right?
Appiagyei. Yeah. And then Jerry. You know, Jerry is a first timer.
Yeah.
And yesterday he was following some of the front benches, the leaders of Parliament, and I think that it's important that the new entrants be given certain opportunities so they can learn on the job.
Yeah, I'm sure they will definitely learn on the job. There are, I mean, well, about 100 or so new faces in Parliament. That's quite a lot.
A lot.
That's quite a lot. You know, that's a significant, about a third, or a little more than a third. You know,
a significant number of parliamentarians
who are entering the chamber for the very first
who will have to learn the rudiments of Parliament.
Yeah,
and
but the older ones are there to guide them. But I think that's why it's even more important that Alban Bagbin is speaker, right?
Yes.
Because of the experience, you know, that he has, you know. But talking about the front benches, obviously, Alexander Kwabena Afenyo-Markin remains the leader of the NPP caucus. He's now the minority leader. So he is
from majority leader to minority leader.
To minority leader. You know, the minority leader role that he did not want to go into. Remember when there was
Buhari? At the time,
he said spiritually it's not even good for him to go and sit.
At the time he was majority leader.
So nobody should say anything, even after the seats were declared vacant. It was quite chaotic how, you know, the 8th Parliament ended, right? It started in chaos and it ended in chaos.
Exactly.
It started in chaos, fisticuffs, throwing blows, snatching ballot papers, chewing ballot papers, you know, ballot booths being kicked down, all kinds of chaos, soldiers invading Parliament. Charlie. It was bad.
And then it ended for the arrest of the president's ADC.
Well, they say he led the soldiers into Parliament.
He led the soldiers into
That's
Parliament.
what they are saying. But
and up until now, we don't know what the investigation surrounding the soldiers' invasion into Parliament had led to. I mean, who asked them to go? What warranted them going into Parliament? Did they anticipate chaotic scenes in Parliament? And so for which they decided to go into Parliament. And then another seat that was in contention that he still remains at the front bench is Frank Anodompre. You know, he still remains a member of the front bench. You know, there were some gunshots in his constituency. Some members of the NDC are calling for his arrest. That, I mean, he pulled the trigger and all that.
So, I mean, by and large, the leadership of both the NPP and the NDC remain the same. So the MPs were sworn in. 275 MPs were sworn in
instead of the 276.
Yeah, 275 MPs were sworn in yesterday. Let's take a look at their swearing in.
May I now kindly request members-elect to rise in their seats I intend to commence with the oath of allegiance. Honorable members-elect, you shall repeat after me. I do in the name of the Almighty God swear that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Republic of Ghana as by law established, that I will uphold the sovereignty and integrity of Ghana, and that I will preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana. So help me God. We shall now proceed to the oath of a member of Parliament. And once again, you repeat after me. I, having been elected a member of Parliament, do in the name of the Almighty God swear that true faith and allegiance to the Republic of Ghana as by law established, that I will uphold, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution, of the Republic of Ghana, and that I will faithfully and conscientiously discharge the duties of a member of Parliament. So help me God. Honorable members, you may now resume your seats.
So that is the swearing in of the 275 MPs. We'll see how that one constituency plays out in court. We know that the NDC is still contesting, those 3 seats that were declared again in favor of the NPP.
Yes.
They are still contesting that.
That's Tema Central, Okankwe Central, and Techiman.
And Techiman South.
Yes.
Yeah. So there's still one which is outstanding.
The Ablekuma North
constituency.
And then January 13, they are back in court to decide. So quite an interesting one. But let's go back to election 2024. This election, or the just ended election, will go down in history as one that was historic. Looking at the numbers, I mean, we're, like you mentioned in our precursor, that first of many.
Yeah, first of many.
Yeah.
A lot of history has been made, 2024 elections. The very first time, that we had a a presidential candidate conceding defeat so early.
Yes.
So early.
I mean, at some point, it stabilized the base, because a number of the constituencies had not been declared. If he had not, I don't know what would have happened if he had not conceded early. But I'm sure every political party has their strong room. They have their numbers. They have
I mean, they can see the numbers. I don't think it's so. What does it mean? Because he conceded early, it destabilized their base, and because of that, they took their eyes off the ball and allowed the NDC side to steal the seats. Is that what we are insinuating?
They did not steal, but you see, and a number of the seats that are in contention probably could have been avoided, because then a lot of people felt that, then it's a done deal. So people were destroying things, especially some members of the NPP and the NDC as well. They felt that, anyway. But probably his concession also saved the country a great deal, So let's see Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia conceding to now President. In just a few hours, he will take the oath of office, John Dramani Mahama.
Ladies and gentlemen of the media, following yesterday's presidential and parliamentary elections, Ghanaians at home and abroad have been sitting on tenterhooks awaiting the outcome of the election. Let me say that the data from our own internal collation of the election results indicate that former President, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, has won the presidential election decisively. The NDC has also won the parliamentary election, even though we await final collation for a number of seats. However, I believe ultimately that these will not change the overall outcome. I have just called His Excellency John Dramani Mahama to congratulate him as President-elect of the Republic of Ghana. I said during the signing of the Peace Pact that I was sure of two things. Ghana will win and peace will reign. The people of Ghana have spoken. The people have voted for change at this time, and we respect that decision with all humility. I thank God Almighty for how far He has brought me, and I submit to His will. I am making this concession speech before the official announcement by the Electoral Commission to avoid further tension and preserve the peace of our country. It is important that the world investor community continues to believe in the peaceful and democratic character of Ghana. These are our most important assets. Ghana is more important than our individual political ambitions, and we must always put Ghana first. While this was not our desired outcome, I say this is part of the democratic process. We put our best foot forward in the contest, explaining our policies and programs. However, it is sometimes the case that the voter would have other ideas. I am very proud of the efforts of our campaign team, and I thank them very much. I assure His Excellency John Dramani Mahama of my full support in the transition process. As committed Democrats, we pledge to ensure that we have a very smooth transition so that
Spike needs to launch his bold new delivery business online without costs going sky high. He'll need this and Namecheap, because he wants a domain that'll really take off. The perfect website and reliable web hosting. Secure
new government in a very responsible way. Ladies and gentlemen, We have conceded defeat like any consummate Democrat would do. But we have not abandoned the fight to transform Ghana and expand opportunities to all sections of our society. We will not be a disruptive opposition, even though we would subject government actions and policies to strict scrutiny in the interest of our beloved nation. Our MPs, I am convinced, will do a thorough job to advance our democracy and ensure that the citizenry gets the best out of the democratic dispensation. To the rank and file of the New Patriotic Party, I know the feeling hurts, given that this is not the result you worked for. I know you would feel there is darkness ahead. That is natural, especially when in all sincerity you gave the assignment your all. But I assure you that we will regroup and come back even stronger. We will take stock of events and pick lessons to guide us going forward. In the interim, I urge you all to look into the future with optimism and hope. We may have lost the battle, but not the war. Let me also use this occasion to congratulate all MPs-elect, with special emphasis on those from the MPP side. I would like to use this opportunity to thank His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, President of the Republic of Ghana and Commander-in-Chief of the Ghana Armed Forces, for his support and guidance over the years. I extend sincere thanks to the First Lady, Mrs. Rebecca Akufo-Addo, for her support and wise counsel throughout my tenure as Vice President and during the 2024 electioneering campaign. I would like to thank my wife, Haja Samira Bawumia, who has gone over and above the call of duty in her support for me. My thanks also go to my children, my brothers and sisters, and the entire Bawumia family for their support. I also thank my running mate, Dr. Matthew Poku Prempe, and his wife Alma, for their strong support in this campaign. I am eternally grateful to our revered traditional rulers, religious leaders, and the generality of Ghanaians for their support. I thank former President Kufuor, the Council of Elders, executives, and the rank and file of the New Patriotic Party.
Yeah, so that was the beginning of the end of the NPP administration. That's where it all began, right? The beginning of the end of the NPP administration with that concession speech by Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. And subsequently, we saw the other figures trickling in with the number of parliamentary seats. And eventually, this is where we are today. One of his very final acts as vice president was visiting the Kantamanto market yesterday. He made a donation of 200,000 Ghana cedis. After
fire ravaged,
he made a donation of 200,000 Ghana cedis to those at Kantamanto yesterday. His last act, public act.
As vice president.
Before leaving office at midnight.
Because his tenure ended at midnight this morning. So as of now, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia will be referred to as former vice president. Will the NPP return Dr. Bawumia? I had an interview with former national chairman of the NPP, Freddie Blay, who mentioned that, it will be in the interest of the NPP to bring back Dr. Bawumia. I have had some leading members of the NPP also say that the NPP should maintain Dr. Bawumia.
That it will be in the interest of the NPP if they do so. Why will it be in the interest of the NPP if Dr. Bawumia comes back?
Well,
according to Freddie Blay,
I think what he wanted to put across was the fact that, well, Dr. Bawumia, if you look at the crop of the people that went into the race for the flag bearership, he had the numbers, he has He has better understanding of the grassroots. He's crisscrossed the 16 regions. He's interacted with the core base of the party. So he has a seeming understanding of the party and what he needs to do differently. Mind you, he went into this election with a former president. He will come back as a former vice president who was in power, who understood the economic dynamics of this country. He will have the opportunity to observe the tenure of John Dramani Mahama again as president, the economic dynamics of the country again, and so he will be informed going forward as if he's made the candidate of the NPP essentially. But I mean, I think that they should open the pool again like they did.
I'm pretty sure there'll be primaries, and I'm pretty sure there are a lot of faces that will come up to contest in the NPP's next primary. So I don't think it's going to be a wholesale endorsement. Who is going to be sworn in again today, and this is why we're bringing you this comprehensive live coverage of that. We'll take you to the Independence Square, which is looking very nice and very patriotic with all the Ghana flags, and the place is looking very nice. It's looking very, very nice. And so the swearing in will be done. He will be the first president to be sworn in how many times?
3 times, yeah. Quite an interesting one. First of many in this country. I think that he's
also a history man.
You know, from assembly member to MP.
Just like Alban Bagbin, he's gone through the ranks.
Yeah, he's gone through the ranks.
MP.
I agree. He's gone through the ranks. He was minister, vice president. He became president. We booted him out. He said, I will not sleep. He came back.
Was he really an assemblyman? That's what they are saying.
Yeah,
was he?
He was, yes.
I don't think he was.
Oh, you don't think so?
I don't think
the man says he was.
But I think he was. But from MP, to deputy minister, vice president,
and then president. Yeah. He was a man who went to work one day who left home as vice president to go to work. He came back home as the president of the republic. So he's also lived history in this country. But let's take a look at the trajectory of John Mahama's life as he's taken the oath 3 times.
John Dramani Mahama.
I, John Dramani Mahama.
Nipa bako pe. Ena Ghana for. Show na juma so on si debi. Ura. Wa de enso ani. Enko yie. Titase.
I'll allow history to be the judge of how I have served my nation.
Congratulations, sir.
I also give thanks to God for preparing a table before me in the presence of my enemies.
President John Dramani Mahama was born on 29th November 1958 in Damongo, the then capital of the West Gonja district of the Northern Region, to Emmanuel Adama Mahama, the West Gonja constituency MP and the first regional commissioner of the Northern Region under Ghana's first leader, President Kwame Nkrumah. He received his basic education at Achimota Basic School and later moved to the Ghana Secondary School in Tamale. In 1981, he received a Bachelor of Arts degree in history, but was forced to flee to Nigeria, where his father was living in exile. He returned to Ghana in 1983 and enrolled in a postgraduate program in communication studies at the University of Ghana and a postgraduate degree in social psychology from the Institute of Social Sciences in Moscow in 1988. Mr. Mahama was employed as an information officer at the Embassy of Japan in the Republic of Ghana from 1999 to 1995. And moved on to join the non-governmental organization Plan International as a sponsorship and grants manager in the Ghana Country Office from 1995 to 1996. It wasn't until 1996 that John Dramani Mahama entered Ghanaian politics. He joined the National Democratic Congress, NDC, and was elected to the Parliament of Ghana to represent the Bole Bamboi constituency. 2008 was a defining moment for Mr. Mahama as he partnered the late Professor John Evans Atta Mills to helm the affairs of government from 2009 to July 2012. On Wednesday, 7th January 2009, John Dramani Mahama was sworn into office as the Vice President of the Republic of Ghana. On 24th July 2012, then Vice President Mahama became President, assuming command of the nation following the death of Asumdjehene Professor John Evans Atta Mills. And when the December 2012 presidential election rolled by, Mr. Mahama won a new term with 50.7% of the vote, marking his first time being elected president.
My fellow Ghanaians, my brothers and sisters, a while ago I phoned Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and offered him my congratulations for emerging the winner of the 2016 presidential elections.
In 2016, however, John Mahama lost the election by a significant margin to Nana Akufo-Addo. Mr. Mahama's loss was attributed to several factors.
Let me make a distinction between what Ghanaians call dumso, that is outages. What we're going through currently is a load management or load shedding, if you prefer to call it that, created by an act of God. How well I have done my part in...
Need a high-quality AI voice like this for your content?
His younger brother, businessman Ibrahim Mahama, was reported to have said that the family advised John Mahama not to contest the 2020 presidential election. As the NDC primaries approached, Mr. Mahama's candidacy was confirmed. In the 2020 general elections, John Mahama and the NDC faced off against Nana Akufo-Addo and the NPP. The election saw a fierce competition, with Mr. Mahama seeking to reclaim the presidency after his 2016 loss. In the parliamentary elections, the NDC made notable gains. After losing ground in 2016, they managed to regain approximately 30 seats, improving their position in the Ghanaian parliament. In the presidential race, Mr. Mahama filled the deficit from the previous election, running against Nana Akufo-Addo. Mr. Mahama of the NDC's rescue agenda, which aimed to restore what they considered to be the shortcomings of the Akufo-Addo administration. Following the election in 2021, the NDC contested the results, alleging that the electoral process had been marred by irregularities.
We are unable to accept the outcome of the election as declared by the Electoral Commission Chairperson, Mrs. Jim Mensah. These results are flawed and discredited.
The party called for a review of the outcome, but despite their efforts, the Electoral Commission upheld the results, declaring President Akufo-Addo as winner of the 2020 presidential election with the backing of the Supreme Court. With the lessons learned from the 2020 elections, the NDC, led by John Dramani Mahama, set out to reset the country. One of the NDC's key promises was its 24-hour economy policy.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the 24-hour economy clock. One job,
3 shifts, 3 people.
But what did the NPP think about this?
How are you going to guarantee us a 24-hour economy when you couldn't keep the lights on 12 hours a day?
If someone says I'm bringing 24-hour economy and that my formation is one is to play and bring some ridiculous explanation of something that is completely irrelevant and it's embarrassing.
24 hours majority. 24-hour majority.
The race leading up to the 2024 elections can be described as one for the history books. The stakes were high, and the political landscape was charged with intensity. The NPP, led by Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, sought to convince voters that their approach would better serve the future of Ghana.
The victory is not mine, but ours. We said it was possible.
Although polls showed favorable projections for John Mahama, many political analysts noted the gap between him and Dr. Bawumia was narrow.
In January, we did a poll, a hypothetical poll, between if it is Mahama against Bawumia, if it's Mahama against Allen, who would you vote for? And in that month, I think Mahama was 48% and Bawumia 42%.
The stage was set for an election that was not only focused on personalities, but also on visions for Ghana's economic future.
You have a decision already. That's what I've already told you, that Mahama is going to win. Somebody cannot sit at home and predict for us. You see, to me, Mahama is going to win. Their prediction. I still stand by Nana Bawumia. I'll vote for Bawumia.
But what we cannot deny was that Mr. Mahama was on the minds of the NPP. Despite their efforts to highlight the achievements and future promises of Vice President Dr. Bawumia, the NPP could not escape the shadow of President Mahama. His presence in the political discourse seemed to dominate much of the party's messaging, so much so that they kept slipping up and mentioning his name in the wrong circumstances.
Ghana, for Yesramo, it's Yesrase. Mama Yamfa, Yatu Yabano, and Fama, and yet John Dramani, I am
January 2017 till date, i.e. in the Akufo-Addo Mahama Bawumia era.
Then came 7th December 2024, and with it, the long-awaited election day. The atmosphere across Ghana was electric as citizens headed to the polls with high hopes and expectations for the future. But behind the scenes, there was tension. The stakes were higher than ever before. By evening, the atmosphere had shifted from excitement to uncertainty, with both parties claiming early victories and preparing for the final count. But by the morning of 8th December 2024, the verdict was out, with Vice President Dr. Bawumia conceding defeat.
From our own internal collation of the election results indicate that former President, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, has won the presidential election decisively. The NDC has also won the parliamentary election. I assure His Excellency John Dramani Mahama of my full support in the transition process.
The news of Dr. Bawumia's swift acceptance of defeat took many by surprise. For a party that had spent months highlighting its successes and positioning itself as the better choice for the future of Ghana, the sudden concession felt like a shift in strategy that many NPP supporters were unprepared for. The concession, while graceful, left a lingering question in the minds of the NPP faithful. Was the party truly prepared for the political shift that had just unfolded?
Drew baby, Yesu, and the Drew baby Suswa yesterday.
Se drut ebra wo so usu na se wa nsu a ya ka ho asa. Aye se si ayi de. Aye niam na ahwe agu. Enti anya hwe agu na ahwe agu no. Anya no ani ade a wose ye hwe wose ye hwe na emom de akwa ba so na yebetimi afa. Yebetimi asesa na yebetimi asoa bio.
The NDC, however, was ecstatic, taken to the streets to celebrate. The mood in the streets of Accra and across major cities in Ghana was one of pure euphoria as Mr. Mahama's supporters poured out in large numbers to celebrate the victory. Then, formal announcement by Electoral Commission Chairperson Jean Mensah on 9th December 2024 sealed the deal. Tempt John Dramani Mahama had successfully obliterated his opponent, Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, having gained 56% in sum of the votes cast, while his party secured a 2/3 majority in Parliament.
I have the singular honor as the returning officer of the 2024 presidential election to declare His Excellency John Dramani Mahama as the winner of the 2024 presidential election and the President-elect of the Republic of Ghana with a total percentage of 56.55%. Congratulations, sir. It is finished.
In his victory speech, President-elect John Dramani Mahama expressed his heartfelt gratitude to all those who played a role in his success. And with a touch of humor, he reminded his critics of the true significance of his win, quoting Psalm 23, verse 5.
I also give thanks to God for preparing a table before me in the presence of my enemies.
And who could blame him, given all he has endured and the constant jabs labeling him as a one-time president, though technically it was more like 1.5 terms. His victory feels all the more triumphant. What makes his win even more remarkable, or perhaps more embarrassing, depending on which side you're on, is that his win is by the widest margin in our country's history. More than 1 million votes. Precisely 1,671,093. This is why many are referring to it as the Green Wave, a nod to his party's color and the decisive nature of his triumph. This overwhelming victory not only solidifies President Mahama's political comeback, but also sends a clear message to both his supporters and detractors. With such a commanding win, he has reaffirmed his position as a formidable force in Ghanaian politics. As the nation looks ahead to the next chapter, all eyes will be on how President Mahama leverages this mandate to navigate the challenges ahead, with his victory serving as a testament to his resilience and the strong backing of the people. The Green Wave is not just a political symbol. It's a powerful reminder of the people's voice echoing across the country.
For me, I'm very happy, pa. The way Akufo-Addo and Bawumia mess up everything. So when Mama come, I'm very happy.
As I removed from house as I go, I lost my phone, but I was happy with. I was good. Victory.
We are grateful for Ghanaians for voting for us. We love each and everyone.
And as history unfolds, posterity will certainly remember John Dramani Mahama not just for this triumph, but for the resilience and determination that defined his political journey. Future generations will look back at this moment as a pivotal chapter in Ghana's political landscape, recognizing President Mahama as a leader who rose above challenges and left an indelible mark on the nation's history.
So that is John Dramani Mahama, the story of John Dramani Mahama, his political career and how it's panned out so far. And he's going to be inaugurated today. And as you can see on your screen now, these are live videos, or should I say this is live feed from the Independence Square area. You can see the number of people who are trying to make their way into the Independence Square to witness the, should I say, third swearing in of John Dramani Mahama.
The third coming.
Yeah, the third swearing in. The very first president to take over from, a president who unfortunately passed on to glory. And then he subsequently won the next election, was sworn in again. He lost, and he's won again. And he's going to be sworn in again today. So you can see a lot of people very, very excited, very happy. A lot of them in NDC party paraphernalia and all kinds of attire. Very excited that you're going to witness the swearing in of John Dramani Mahama. Of course, we're going to be bringing you some updates from the ground as well, because we've got our men on the ground who are going to be engaging some of the dignitaries who are going to be thronging the place, the Independence Square, in order for the inauguration of John Dramani Mahama to take place. And of course, we here in the studio are going to do our bit as well. We're going to be engaging in some discussions with regard to the various dynamics as far as this inauguration is concerned, right? We know that security is one of the big issues, and so we'll be talking a little bit about it. Security-wise, what is this event looking like? Is everything being done properly to ensure that we are safe and we are sound? Of course, there is some history being made as well today, because we're going to, for the very first time in the history of this country, have a woman who is vice president. And so we'll be doing discussions on that as well. The significance of that, what it means, and, what it potentially could do for this country's image moving forward. And, of course, what it could do for the various women all across the country who do so much for this country. We'll talk a little bit about that as well, and a host of other things. So make sure that you're staying tuned here to GH1 Television, the station that gives you your best experience. Of course, my name is Lanta, and I'm here with
Lily
the
Mohammed.
gorgeous.
And in studio, we've been joined by two great individuals. Lanta mentioned that it's the first time we're seeing a woman as the second person in charge of a country. Well, the first time we saw that in the United States of America. Now we're seeing that in the history of Ghana. We have a woman also in studio, Dr. Charity Binka. She's the chair, African Women Leaders Network. A while ago, some time back, we engaged her, but in her capacity as the chair. Today, she's coming to champion the women's agenda. And we also have Dr. Ishmael Norman. He's the founder and president for the Institute for Security, Disaster and Emergency Studies. We'll talk a bit about security. Look at the numbers there. What should be the security arrangement? Even before now, we've seen a number of security situations. We've seen security situations at various coalition centers, recoalition centers. We've seen fires ravaging various markets across the country, and it feels as though we are beginning to sound like a broken record. At the beginning of every year, we see fires ravage major markets across the country. We saw that in Kantamanto, very devastating. We've seen that in Kumasi, in the wood market. We've seen that the Tamale timber market. And it's time to address it as a country. But really, did we go to sleep after every fire incident? Good morning, lady and gentlemen.
Good morning.
I trust you're doing well. Sure.
By the grace of God.
Great. Let's talk a bit about the election 2024. Your thoughts about it, especially for you, Dr. Binka, the election, the candidature of Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman, even before the election, sometime in 2020, she was nominated as the running mate. There were a lot of concerns from various quarters. People talked about her age. People also talked about the expertise she brought on board. She was renominated again prior to the 2024 general election. She's gone in partner John Dramani Mahama. She's also had the first of many, first Vice Chancellor. What does she bring to the table when it comes to the vice presidential slot?
She brings hope. She brings hope. In fact, when she was nominated in 2020, there were a lot of comments. People said she was too old. And then usually when you appoint a president after 4 years, somebody, if the president is not there, is a vice who should be there. We have a case where we have a woman who is far older than the president, the candidate then. And then, of course, a woman. There were a lot of complaints and all that. But I think the power of political will.
Right.
When a government or people decide that they want to pay attention, the government decides to pay attention to the leadership of women, it can happen. We are still talking about only 40 women in parliament, now 41 or 42, 43, we are not sure. But then, if a government is determined to make sure that women are more visible, women are there in power, to be there, because after 2020 elections, people were saying that she shouldn't be sent, maybe people were even attributing the defeat to her and all that. But then, the party had confidence in her. And they put her forward again. And I was shocked. In fact, I was shocked at the energy she brought into the campaign. She went everywhere. She was everywhere. And in fact, I was inspired. I'm above 60. And I was every time I said, oh, I'm too old for this. But she told us, she showed us that it can be done. Until you say that you can't do it, then you can't do it. She showed that it is possible, regardless of your age, regardless of your sex, you can do it. This woman was everywhere. I was privileged to also have an encounter with her during the she met some journalists, female journalists.
I was there with you as well.
Oh, yes. And the energy she brought into the room, she was articulate. She was on top of issues. She had patience for everybody to listen. And I was just admiring her. I was like, wow, we can do it. We need to be given the opportunity to do it.
You know, I can sense a lot of excitement in your voice as you talk about this. That's something that is exciting you very much. Where is the excitement coming from? Is it coming from the fact that it is a woman who has now becoming the vice president, and we've never seen that before, or it's coming from, somewhere else, a myriad of other factors? Where's the excitement coming from?
It's coming from the fact that, first of all, she is a woman. And not only that she's a woman, she has shown that she brings in a difference into leadership. Right. She has enriched the process, the campaign. Oh, I'm excited. People who never dreamt that this day will come, that will see a woman elected in Ghana as a vice president. It's something that people would never have dreamt of. And the fact that she could actually she would campaign so well, and it was everywhere. She didn't at any point show any sign of tiredness or anything. She was just there. And she was on top of issues. One of the things that she brings into leadership, into this whole discussion, this new era, or this government, is her level of articulation, her capacity. She brings some skills that is going to, not only as I wouldn't call her a politician as such. She came in with skills. She came with expertise. But she came in because she was given the opportunity.
Sure.
And I think that it should be, and I'm happy that she already has her job cut out for her. The NDC manifesto clearly spells out what they want to do for women in this country.
Right.
They want to see to it that 30% of women are elected into leadership, all positions in this country.
Affirmative action.
And the 30%. Now, not even, and also in that manifesto, they talk about making sure that they fully implement the Affirmative Action Act, the law. Because we have several laws which are just lying there. the Domestic Violence Act and all that. How many people have we had being, sentenced for this or that for domestic violence? We still push these issues under the carpet because the thing has happened within the domestic sphere. So let's just handle it over there. So I believe that if they have put in their constitution, in their manifesto, that they want to push the gender agenda, she's at the right place to do it. And not only their manifesto indicating what they want to do for women, she has come at the time that we have an affirmative action law. Yeah. So she has everything that she needs to use to make sure that the 4 years will be impactful. The 4 years will be 4 years of seeing women in leadership. And we are watching, and we are hoping, and we are trusting, not hoping, we will have to demand it. They have to demand what they said they will do. And we are there to support.
So these
the
are
professor.
Your expectations.
And the expectations
for the vice president.
Yes, the expectation. I'm excited because she's coming as a first female coming. This
there have been a lot of firsts, when it comes to women in this country, right? From the Chief Justice, Speaker of Parliament, Chief of Staff, what?
And now Vice President.
And now Vice Presidents. Where will you place this? Because we've had a lot of women in so many of these high, sensitive positions, right? Yes. So where will you place this one?
At the highest level, because she's the second in command now. And you see, the fact is that if you are not at the decision-making table, you are not at that level of making policy or changing things, you will just be part of the menu. You'll be eaten up. But she's going to be there.
She's going to be there.
She'll be there.
In the thick of affairs.
The thick of affairs.
Nobody's eating anybody up.
No, she'll not be eaten up.
Yeah, but it's not what we do. It's not what the men do to the women in this country. When they are the decision.
Let's hear from Dr. Norman then.
Literally.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. The vice president elect is beyond being a woman.
Sure.
She's a self-actualized human being. A professor, you don't get that just by being there.
Yeah.
Beyond the academic or professional credentials, she is an accomplished parent, raised very successful children. This is a very moral human being. For the first time, I would like to see morality being one of the credentials of becoming a leader in this country. This vice president that we're going to have today is not somebody that you can say any negative thing about her because of her morality, integrity. She is beyond being a woman. She is a role model for both men and women because she's a self-actualized human being. And because of that, my respect, my salutation goes to her any day, anytime. In terms of expectations, I want to lower their expectations.
How so?
Because too many people expect so much out of President John.
Well, but Doc, you said the country is broken.
Yeah. The country is broken.
We should lower expectations.
Yes.
But Ghanaians voted for this administration, which is taking over today.
The man has 4 years to fix somebody that somebody has broken in 8 years. So he's going to do the best he can. Everything he's going to achieve, he's going to do, is in the social contract.
Right.
Within the 120 days, if it doesn't happen, it's not going to happen. For that reason, Nana is going to be so busy, and the president is also going to be so busy. But they are human. They get tired. They get overwhelmed. We should continue to pray for them. I am happy that Nana is enough for them. I am happy that Nana is an accomplished intellectual, but at this moment, the educational side is good, but let's put our attention to the economic, and social aspect. And for that reason, I think that having run a big university like Cape Coast University, one of the best universities in the world, not just.
That's where I got my PhD from. So proud.
That's where you got your PhD.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So am I supposed to cry? Because I got mine from Legon? I've been there. If somebody else had been elected or had been nominated for the position.
This will be the second time a professor is occupying
the vice presidency seat.
We had Professor John Evans
Tamils as vice president
before he became president.
And same region.
Yeah, from the same region.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. The Fantis are good.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Oh, Fantis are good, yeah. My mother is Fanti, so
Yeah.
Fantis are good.
So is my father.
See?
It is well.
The Fantis make it possible.
Easily.
But anyway, back to the subject.
So I think Nana is Professor. Nana is not going to disappoint Ghanaian women. Neither is she going to disappoint. This I'm very sure of, because she's a person who pursues equity. Gender equity. It's not just about women, but it's also about men. It's not only the girl child that needs pad, menstrual pad. There are a lot of young boys in this country who are going to school who have no underwear. We need to think about that also. So there has to be a balance. We're not only thinking about a girl child, because otherwise, 10 years from today, the country will be confronted with what we're going to do to salvage the boy child. We shouldn't wait till it goes to the brink of destruction.
But let's take ourselves back a bit to election 2024 in the campaign, on the campaign trail, the campaign periods. What was your general assessment of the various campaigns? I know that it's become a two-party state, the NPP, and your general assessment of the campaign trail, both the NPP, NDN, and all the other parties, if you would.
In terms of
I think all the political party candidates did very well. I was quite surprised of JM going up and down the whole country. I was surprised. I attended a function where the Vice President Bawumia said, when he hears of the name JM, he can't sleep. And so it has to be on the campaign trail. I was motivated by that statement. Because it was a very honest statement that the competition is JM and nobody else. JM didn't use Bawumia as the peg of inspiration. He was already inspired by what he was going to do for Ghana. And so he woke up every day, whether he was tired or not, he came to the Ghana Teachers Union where there was a governance meeting, and he flew from northern region to maybe somewhere else, to Sunyani, and then came to Accra. I was expecting him to be so tired that he wouldn't be able to speak. Because as a lecturer, when I teach for about 3 hours, I know how tired I am. But he can stand on his feet and do it. The butterfly movement, they were also there. Alan was also there, moving up and down. So in terms of the general organization of the campaigns, I think we should clap for each one of the people. Bediako Shada was also doing his bit. There was also very little violence during the campaigning itself. My only disappointment is the post-election violence that are associated with the coalition of the result. And for blame the EC?
Why would you place the blame at the doorstep of the EC?
When coalition takes more than 12 to be agitated, really given a history of finagling with figures in this country. And so every effort should have been taken into consideration to make sure that the coalition will not go that far. The Ghana police should also have done their job well. I know that they did a good job. About 8/10. By EC, I will grade it 6/10. We have had a successful election, not because of what the EC did, it's because the Ghanaians themselves are very disciplined. There are a few of us that are not. There are a few of us that are highly agitated, and it is very difficult to control them sometimes. But I think overall, this country has shown that our democracy is here to stay, and that no matter what the political parties do, we, the people of Ghana, we own this country, and we will make sure that the violence will be minimized. And so for me, generally, I will rate the whole thing as 9/10.
9/10, generally?
Generally. In terms of the conduct of the people, the police, the EC, if you take all the indicators together.
9/10.
9/10. Yeah.
I mean, you were trying to, and before I bring Dr. Binka in, you are trying to, or you are laying the blame of the post-election violence at the doorstep of the EC because they delayed in collation.
Yes.
And you talked about the Ghana Police Service as well. They were supposed to provide security.
Yes.
But you thought that they did a good job. How much blame will you give to the political party leadership? Because a lot of the post-electoral violence were by political party actors, NDC, NPP, agitating over who has won what, right? And this is even the people who died, right? It's due to the political actors, with the gunshots and what have you, political actors. So how much blame will you lay at the doorstep of political party leadership for not being able to rein their supporters in? We all saw the scenes at some of the EC's collation centers where supporters were trying to force their way into the collation center
and at some point the EC headquarters.
Yes. Sure. Why, when we have two football teams at the field, there's always a referee and there are always other officials in the field. Now, why do we have the referee? Why do we have the police? Why do we have the EC? You know that this is a very highly contested election. So if you know that the contest is high, you do everything possible. Worst case scenario, if we delay for 12 hours, what will happen? Then you take precautions against that. If it's 24 hours, what will happen? You take precautions. I believe that they didn't plan the emergency interventions that were supposed to be planned.